It didn't take too much preparation to put this forecast together because it's pretty much similar to the one that I had last week. We start out with a live look from the Lorenz and Lorenz 360 camera in Westlake. And again, we are seeing the same pictures on all of our webcams, which you can see if you log on to our website, kxan.com. Click on the Weather and Traffic tab, and then in the second column at the very top, it says Web Cameras. And that's where you'll see what we're seeing here in our office. No major changes, only minor day-to-day temperature fluctuations, and our highs low to mid 90s today. We'll start seeing slightly higher numbers, however, as we get later on into the week. The humidity will drop by 4 o'clock. We're looking at mostly 40s, which is a whole lot better than we have right now. Here's the reason. We've got a big ridge of high pressure over the northeastern part of the country, settling in the Ohio Valley to the mid-Atlantic coast and further up the line. This is what's baking the country from, let's say, Houston through St. Louis and Chicago on over to the Atlantic seaboard. So that's weather feature number one. Weather feature number two is that trough of low pressure. You combine the two and you've got the flow coming in off of the Gulf, and that's what leads to the cloud cover that we have and those little chances of rain that we have in our forecast, like we see for this afternoon. We're dry tonight, and then we'll see a mostly cloudy sky, I think, tomorrow morning. Little more coverage of showers and a few isolated thunderstorms starting at about between noon and 2 and lasting until about 7 to 8. And then we're dry Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and we repeat the whole thing again on Wednesday. Again, isolated to scattered in nature and not expected to drop a whole lot of rain. Then we have a low chance of rain on Thursday, and I've got a little bit of rain in the forecast for Sunday. But even with the rain that is forecast and in low doses, we're not going to find much rain measured at all. Most will average about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch from the interstate eastward. 1/10 or less in the hill country. These are subject to change. We may get an update later on. Solar forecast is looking pretty decent for the afternoon. We'll get rid of a few more of these clouds, and then we're going to call this an 8-battery day with plentiful sunshine. In the tropics, we have a system in the Atlantic that could be Andrea, if a depression at the very minimum. Right now, a 70% chance of development, but this thing is over the colder waters. It's well east of Bermuda, and so I don't really think it's going to be much of a player at all. And then we have another weather system in the eastern Pacific, south of San Salvador, that is essentially expected to take the same path as Eric did, but again, we'll have to wait as we get into the next 7 days for that. All right, 10% chance of rain today, 20 Tuesday, Wednesday, 10 Thursday, 10 Sunday. We see most highs in the mid-90s through Thursday, and then we peak in the upper 90s on Friday and Saturday.